Welcome to Coffee Break with Rachel Vigil, taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel Vigil.
I'm already starting to feel the nerves because the CSU Rams tonight will play in the first four of the NCAA tournament. If you did not know, I went to CSU. I am an alum, and I am so excited to bring in somebody that I know from up there in Fort Collins, as we've got Kevin Lytle joining us from Dayton, Ohio. Kevin, how are you? I called you Kyle. Kevin, my goodness, it is a Tuesday.
It's a busy week. We're all a little kind of feeling the strain of the hours and everything, but doing great here in Dayton, sitting in my car as sports reporters tend to do. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind, but yeah, it's NCAA tournament time, which is never a bad time.
No, for sure. And obviously, you follow this team so closely. You have seen the ups and the downs. And just what are the emotions as you watch this team? They kind of got a little, I feel like the Mountain West overall got a little disrespected when it came to the selections on Sunday. But what was your first initial reaction as they were the last team in?
Yeah, I mean, shock maybe is the best word, because basically everything the NCAA committee says is part of the selection process, things they value, the metrics, basically weren't followed. And every expert, that, does this bracketology and everything, it was way off what people expected. But it's still in, most importantly, at the CSU watch party, it was pretty interesting. It was a celebration, as selection show tends to be. They were, sure they were in it. They didn't even feel a question. And then when Boise State popped up as a first four team, which, that came on the screen earlier, the mood in that room changed really, really fast, to a lot of nerves. So by the time CSU came up, which was pretty late in the reveal, I think as much as anything, it was relief, because they had been sure they were in. And then all of a sudden there was that little bit of like, oh my gosh, what are they doing with these seeds? So once they found out they were in, kind of relief and surprised, certainly, at being the first four team. Definitely surprised at being the last team in. But, like Nico Medved, Isaiah Stevens, some others have said, it's hard to get an at-large bid. We did. So, time to play basketball.
For sure, as they take on Virginia tonight, 7:10 Mountain Time tip. Give me your feeling, gut reaction. Obviously, the CSU Rams, they can put up points on the board compared to what Virginia has done. So what's your gut reaction going into tonight's game?
Yeah, contrast of styles. I mean, we all know Virginia, really good defense, slow pace. That's how they won a national title a few years ago. They actually haven't won an NCAA tournament game since then, but a really good defensive team. CSU, like you say, when they're at their best, can really score it. So kind of a clash of styles. I think the best thing for CSU is, while the offense struggled at times in Mountain West play, they really figured out how to be a good defensive team. So they're now top 40 in the nation defensively. So I think you kind of hope, if you're a Ram fan, that CSU will be able to really shut down Virginia. And if they can create some turnovers and get in transition, they'll be in good shape. So I expect it to be a close one. I can't really see how either of these teams would blow the other one out. But it should be a grinder. But I think I like what CSU, how they can match up and create some problems for Virginia.
So many of these games, you have to also worry about the fact that this is a big moment for so many of these young men going to the big dance, and that can sometimes cause a little bit of emotion that can typically play into a game that otherwise wouldn't account for. How do you think Nico Medved will handle his team, making sure that the moment doesn't get too big for them?
Yep, that's always sort of the intangible that you can never anticipate how everyone will handle. That's one where I wonder if this quick turn helps CSU. Okay. Guys like Joe Palmer, Patrick Cartier, Joel Scott, they're coming up from D2 or D3. If you were playing a Friday game, that would be a lot of time to kind of sit there and think like, oh my gosh, I'm about to be in the NCAA tournament. But, they were home for like less than 24 hours after or a little over 24 hours after the selection before hitting on a plane, come all the way east, have to, do the hotel, do your practice. Now it's game day. There's almost no time to sit there and kind of let yourself get overwhelmed by the moment. So that might help. Again, we'll see. But probably the best thing is Isaiah Stevens still exists. He's leading this team. He's played in the NCAA tournament. He's going to be composed. And kind of how, Zay goes, the team follows. So I think that more than anything is probably the most useful thing for CSU.
What makes Isaiah Stevens so special, even just off the court? Because it feels like the
Yeah.
entire Ram community has fallen in love with the, young man that he is.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. It's like we all see on the court, like, if you watch basketball, you see and appreciate what he does on the court. But yeah, he's great kid. He's smart. He's thoughtful, kind, caring. I mean, he always has time for kids. Even here yesterday in Dayton, signing autographs for, local kids here that, may not even know who he is, but he has time to sit and he's just sitting there chatting, asking kids who their favorite player is and all that type of stuff. So just like, Nico Medved loves using the term elite human being, but it really applies with Isaiah Stevens. Just one of the best people in family, too. I've gotten to know his mom, dad, brother over the years, and just great people. Like, you just kind of want to be around them. It's one of those where, like, amazing human being, and it's just a benefit that he's also an incredible basketball player. So, yeah, he's one of my favorite players I've ever covered in my career. He's Medved calls him a unicorn. I think that's a pretty good descriptor.
I agree. Even from afar, I'm definitely an Isaiah Stevens fan. Kevin, obviously, this is your job, so you have to get out there to Dayton. But for a lot of fans, finding out on Sunday night where they're going, trying to travel, have you heard any word from anybody in Fort Collins or anybody that just cheers on the team since you're so well connected that will be out there tonight?
Yeah, that is the toughest thing is,
So hard.
I know a lot of fans that were planning to go to the NCAA tournament, and then when is basically I can't get to Dayton between cost and,
Yep.
if you have to change your work schedule or whatever. So I know there are a lot of people that have their fingers crossed for a win tonight and plan to be in Charlotte. But I have heard from a few, and I talked to a couple yesterday at the open practice that have made their way over. So it's a pretty small group because it is so difficult. But there will be some here, and certainly some of the families, kind of, I think no matter what or where it was going to be, they were going to find a way to get here. So I think there's some coming, but definitely did impact that fan group. And if CSU were to win, I expect more in Charlotte too.
Which is crazy to think about. And of course, I'm just doing my pick right now. I am taking CSU to win. So I don't want to look too far ahead because I feel like that always tends to jinx it. But if they were to advance, obviously, into the big dance after the first four, how are you feeling about a matchup against Texas?
Yeah, another really quick turnaround. CSU plays at 9 p.m. or after 9 p.m. local time here. So obviously that game would end very, very late.
Yep.
I don't know if they would stay here or fly out immediately, but either way, obviously have to fly sometime soon to Charlotte and then practice tomorrow, game Thursday, and it's kind of Thursday afternoon-ish, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But Texas is one of these, kind of like Virginia, of a high major team that's had its good moments, but also hasn't been dominant. The most exciting would be they have a star point guard, Max A. Smith from he was at Oral Roberts when they had their little run a couple of years ago. Him and Isaiah Stevens actually know each other. They're from Texas, so another elite point guard matchup if that happens. But that's a game I can see CSU winning that game if they get to it. That's not a horrible matchup for the Rams. So obviously a lot of work to do to get there, but that would be, I think, a really, really good NCAA tournament game.
For fans that maybe aren't super familiar with CSU, but of course are having that Colorado connection as they play tonight, who are the people? We obviously mentioned Isaiah Stevens, Joel Scott. What other names should people really pay close attention to?
Yep, those are a couple at the top. Nick Clifford, I think he's probably your Robin to Isaiah's Batman of he scores it pretty well, can score at all three levels, but also he tends to defend, the top perimeter guy on the opponent. He's a really aggressive rebounder. He's a guy, he has a pro future. Wouldn't be surprised if he tests the NBA waters a little bit after the season. Obviously, Colorado transfer, who has just fit perfectly at CSU. So he's really one of the other guys. And then Patrick Cartier on the inside, he's been wearing a face shield because he got his nose busted up a few weeks ago. It seems like it's affected him, but when he can score, it really opens up CSU's offense. He can hit threes. He's a good passer. So that's sort of one of your keys. If you're watching this game tonight, if Patrick Cartier, is getting into the 10 to 15 point range, CSU is probably going to be in good shape.
Oh, I like that a lot. Okay, so obviously we do have to talk about, and you cover the Rams, so I want to make sure we stay very clear on that, but I know you are also a college basketball fan just in general. CU will play tomorrow night. Have you thought anything about that game just with the Colorado connection?
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of cool because, they're playing Boise State, who obviously I cover in the Mountain West, and I've seen play a lot of times. Obviously, I've seen CU play. I'm actually heading over to their practice here in a few minutes, but I think that's an interesting matchup. Boise State, they're at their best with, length and physicality inside, which CU has in spades. So I think CU negates a lot of what Boise State does. And again, to go point guard play, Boise State, when they struggle, has been because of point guard play, and KJ Simpson is obviously one of the best. So, that's a game I think CU should win. I believe they're favored. I like that matchup for CU. I think that's a game that they can win.
No, I'm totally with you. I like that matchup as well for them. And just seeing what Tad Boyle's been able to do, obviously everyone's talked about Cody Williams, but I do think that it will have just an impact on how people look at college basketball here in Colorado.
Yeah.
So many times, Kevin, it feels like we're like the little brother when it comes to just everything that goes on with the big dance. But having two teams go out there from Colorado, it definitely shows a little bit of an emphasis of Colorado can be really serious when it comes to college basketball.
Yeah, I think it's great. I'm totally with you. I think that is going to be really fun. I guess that's one of the good parts of the first four tonight tomorrow is CU and CSU obviously will get a lot of spotlight because of that. And especially if they can win, that will really help. Yeah. Kind of drive a little bit of that, knowledge of the quality of coaching and playing here in Colorado because, well, not here. I'm not in Colorado. You know what I mean? Because
I feel you.
Exactly. Medved and Boyle are great coaches. They have a lot of respect for each other. Good programs. So yeah, it'll be good to get the attention, hopefully for the state both win because that'll just drive a lot of eyeballs.
Okay, so now give me the layout. What does your day look like? You said you're heading to a practice here in a little bit. Obviously, what time will you get to the arena, etc.?
Yeah, so it's an interesting day because the teams that play tomorrow in the first four, like CU practice today. So I'm gonna go over there, check that out. See CU and Boise State going through their prep. Been doing some work and writing this morning. And then the game is 9:10 local time here for CSU. So I'll have a little bit of downtime in the afternoon. Probably head to the arena in the evening, watch the Howard and Wagner in the first game, and then game time, and then we'll probably be up writing until who knows, 1 or 2 a.m. And then, I guess one way or another, I'll be on a flight somewhere tomorrow. So part of my late night will be booking travel to whether it's Charlotte or back home, depending on the result.
Well, hopefully it's Charlotte. Favorite game time snack? What are you getting at the arena?
Oh man, that's a good question. They had some little bite-sized cookies yesterday, so I might just have those sitting by the computer if need be.
I might need you to test out the popcorn and let me know if it's good. Not that I think I'm going to be in Dayton, Ohio anytime soon, but it's always nice to know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Kevin, I appreciate your time so much. Have so much fun tonight at the game, and of course, go Rams.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. All right. Kevin Lytle, again, right there. So much fun to have him on the show. I know him from my connections up there in Fort Collins. So plenty of good stuff. And of course, cheering on the Rams tonight. Let me know in the comments if you are also going to be cheering on the Rams or if you're going to be looking ahead to tomorrow night with the Buffs. Plenty of good stuff on this Tuesday. We will see you back here tomorrow, 12 p.m. Come hang out with us. And then if you do not, check out Denver Sports Daily at 10 a.m. each weekday as well. Orange and Blue today will also be happening at 4 o'clock. So there's so much you can follow on our YouTube page, on all of our social medias. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Let's hopefully get a Ram win. Bye, everybody.